Hello and welcome to Girls with Goals. I'm Niamh Maher, and on this week's episode I am joined by TV presenter, reporter and makeup artist Nadine Reid, and returning to the show for the second time is actress and writer Amy De Bhrún. Ladies, you're very welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. First time on the show.
I know, my God.
Second time.
Yes. I'm an old hand at it now at this stage.
I was trying to think about which episode you were on, and it was over a year ago that you were here last.
It was about influencers, social media influencers.
With Colette Sexton.
Yes.
That show did so well.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's still one of the best performing shows that we've ever had, yeah. Because it was around the time of the Bloggers Unveiled situation, and we had one of the bloggers who was kind of targeted quite a bit on as well. Now she was on the phone. But yeah, like sometimes I'll be going back through the episodes and I'll just like stop at that and be like, oh my God, because it really did. It did so well, yeah.
It was amazing.
God, I can't believe it was that long ago. So we've changed, obviously we've changed premises, we've changed everything. We're filming the shit out of you now.
I know, which I love.
I'm so glad you just said shit. So we're allowed to say words like that. If they naturally
Absolutely.
come up.
This is a safe
That's
space.
so good to know. So
Thank you. Speaking of words, we're going to start off with our game. So it's called 6 Words or Less, and it's for any of our readers of Her.ie and our viewers on YouTube and listeners on the sound apps, as we call them, Amy, who don't know who you are. So you have to describe yourself in 6 words or less. So who would like to go first? Because Amy, we had you on before. Do you remember the 6 words that you had before?
Oh yes, mine was something like the last time was something like actress, writer, hoping to inspire or something like that.
It was lovely and empowering.
Yeah,
I loved it.
So I changed it for you this time. And ambitious storyteller, learning to embrace power.
Whoa, dude.
That's what I feel at this present moment.
Wow, so impressed.
That is powerful. Ambitious storyteller,
learning to embrace power.
Embrace power. Love that. It almost gave me like little goose pimples.
Yes.
Well done. Nadine, what about you?
What Amy said.
Good.
No, I was overthinking this actually, to be honest. I was like, oh God, 6 words, what words to describe yourself, blah, blah, blah. And I guess it changes all the time, every day.
Yeah.
But the kind of key phrases that I will always use is, if Nads can, you can. Do you know?
I love that.
It's so basic.
Don't
It's
you
really
love-
simple. I
That's
always say
early.
that. If Nads can, you can.
You have that on your social media,
I
don't
do.
you? As like a little hashtag.
It's my own personal little hashtag. It's embarrassing.
I love that.
I always just think, like, if I can move to another country, learn another language, change career, I don't know, whatever, like if I can do that, anyone can. I'm just like a Jenny from the block, but from Birmingham and Jamaican.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I was going to ask, like, obviously, you know, when we get people on the show, we want to learn, you know, a lot about them. And Amy, you have your show that we want to talk about as well. But if I'm not mistaken, it's not an Irish accent. So can you tell us where you're from? I feel like Cilla Black. Where are you from? What do you do? Tell me everything.
Well, I'm number one, and I was born in Birmingham, so that is my, you know, place I was born. But I was born to a Jamaican family, so my parents are Jamaican, my whole family is Jamaican. So I've been raised in a very Jamaican culture, if you know what I mean. But born in England, moved over here 3 years ago. I must have one of those kind of voices that, is it like a voice of empathy? Because the more I'm around Irish people, the more I'm like, here.
You're picking it up a little bit. Yeah.
Like, I think I said off the other day. Like, who says off? Turn it off. I was like, where have I got that from? I blame Cassie.
Have, like a musical ear, though. I love Cassie.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, if you have kind of musical tendencies or anything. Well, that's what my dad said to me. Whenever I go anywhere, I pick up an accent. Do you know? Like, people always say that I have an American twang. Like, I spent a few months there when I was 20 and I came back speaking full American. But I think it's one of those things that you do tend to pick accents up. But
yes, you do. Yeah, I'm just a musical girl.
There you go. So you weren't always like a TV presenter though, right?
Oh God, no. I'm not sure if I am now, but no, not at all. After being at school, I was always one of those kids that was like dancing, singing, just messing, arts, all of that stuff. But as a lot of young people, I never really knew where to channel it or what to do with it. And my mom probably looked at me like, what what do we do with this girl, you know? So I ended up moving into makeup artistry because I knew it was a place for me to be able to talk to people, meet different people, be creative. Do you know, it kind of fitted the energy that I had at the moment. I did actually, Amy, I did apply to go to do an acting degree in London.
No way.
Yeah, and I got refused and I was like, oh, you're dead to me. And I just never got back to it.
I
was like, fine, you don't need me.
I know that feel.
I was like, you don't need me, I don't need you. When I was about 18.
I find career progressions like that so interesting though, because Amy, you always wanted to be an actress, right? So you didn't necessarily like have something first and then you moved into it. Did you train, you did train, but do you understand like what Nadine is saying when she says like that kind of rejection? Because I've heard that a lot. I had a lot of friends during college who wanted to go to London, and it's so hard to get into acting courses over there.
No, it is. It's really tricky. And I went when I finished school. Back then there was only I think one like drama school in Ireland. So I think I applied for something in Trinity, and I applied for English in Trinity, and then I got into that, and then I was going, I actually hate it here. What am I doing here? I wanted just to be going and doing like drama school. And then took a year out, and I just auditioned for the whole year. Got tons of rejection, and that was like, but I think it was like at that point, because I'd left school, I dropped out of the course in Trinity. I was just like, there's just no other option because there's nothing else that I love as much as this. But it's interesting because what you're saying, because I always find like people always come back to whatever that thing is, you know, like when it's, you know, you always kind of find a way back to it, or like if you're doing presenting now, you know, like it kind of, you find your way back, you're in the creative job. It's like, because you want to find your way into creativity somehow and making it into a job.
And then like, I suppose in terms of, you said that you moved here like 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
And was that to do with the job, or was that?
Well, I had a friend, Judy Wong, if she's watching. We were friends for years and years. So she would work as a makeup artist for MAC over in Ireland, and I was working as a makeup artist. We were both in the training department in England. So when we'd have international trainings, you know, I'd meet the guys from Ireland to China. Do you know, it'd be the biggest mix of people, and they'd probably send us to like Miami or somewhere cool in America. So I became friends with her through working at MAC. So then years later, she was like, "Oh, I need a hand doing some shows. Do you fancy coming over to Dublin?" That was in like 2014. So in 2014, I came over for a week to work for Dublin Fashion Festival. It was brilliant, started to meet a few people, realised that the flight was half an hour, the 747 bus will take me straight to town. Like, it just became really
so easy.
It just became really easy. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And everyone was really nice. And obviously some of the stores and stuff are the same as in the UK, so you don't feel as, you know, like if you're in a different speaking country, you're really like, oh, what does that mean?
Yeah, you never really like, feel...
Tesco's. Yeah. Cool, I know that. Yeah, so I felt quite comfortable straight away. And then I came 2015 as well. And then by 2016, I was like, here. You know, why not?
Really?
Yeah, I needed a fresh start. I knew it was a very comfortable place, and I've been really lucky. I found the Irish community, society, very welcoming. So it was an easy transit, and growing up in Birmingham, there's a huge Irish community there as well. So I'm not that unfamiliar with, like, you know, Catholic churches and communions and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it didn't feel that unusual. And I'm Jamaican, so I grew up drinking Guinness.
Really?
Guinness punch. Guinness punch, babes.
Oh, I didn't know what that, like, I didn't know that Jamaicans liked Guinness.
Oh, babes, we feel like we invented it.
Did you
It's like
invent
a battle. No, we didn't.
Okay.
But yeah, we feel like we did. We feel like we did. Like, like from a kid, like on a Sunday, you'd have like Guinness punch.
Oh, amazing.
We'll have to do a little demo of that one day.
Yeah, because I know that they put like, sometimes you put a little drop of blackcurrant in Guinness and it tastes delicious, but I don't know, I'm presuming punch is like a bit more intricate than that.
Yeah, it's got like Nestle's milk in it, nutmeg.
Oh shit, yeah, that's
It's like a milky Guinness drink.
Yeah.
Some people throw a bit of Baileys in it. Definitely white Jamaican rum, Ray Nephews. It's a bit of a, But you drink it as kids when I say it out loud.
I love that.
You have it as kids, but you do.
Also sounds very Irish as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, Guinness punch.
I want to, like, we'll talk about expose and that kind of thing in a few minutes as well. But I don't know if you know, Nadine, but Amy wrote and produced this show called I See You, and this is its second run of it, right? And I'm actually going to see it tonight. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm so excited. But like I know a lot about it because we chatted before when you were on the show. But just in case anybody hasn't heard about it or doesn't know it, can you give us kind of the brief synopsis of it? It's so interesting. Like it's the most interesting story. I literally like fell into a bit of a wiki web.
I know it's hard not to like
I just fell into it. But sorry, I digress. You just tell us about it.
So the premise of the show is two women a century apart, same story. So it's the idea that there was this incredible Irish woman. She was the first female commercial pilot. She was married 3 times. In early 1900s Ireland. Her third marriage actually was to someone of Jamaican origin, which was very unusual in Ireland back then. She first person to parachute out of a plane. Like she's an amazing woman, did all these amazing things 100 years ago. And so the premise of the show is that she's almost lost in the walls of history and she's trying to crack through to get her message of empowerment across to a modern day Mary character who is stuck in an abusive relationship. So it was kind of, and how they communicate is almost through little poems on paper airplanes that she stuffs in the cracks, like so there's little cracks with light coming through them on stage, and that's kind of like she sacrifices the light in order to get the story told.
Wow, like that literally just gave me goosebumps there as well.
I'm in, sold, subscribed.
It's such a powerful story though, but like I've been reading a little bit about her, and the reason is because when you hear something like there was this incredible woman and she was an Irish woman, but like something happened along her life or history just decided that maybe she didn't do as much things. And the thing is, you can find information on her. She's not gone forever, but a lot of people, if you say her name,
would have no idea
who she was. Like she started up like the amateur athletics for women. Like she was an avid athlete as well.
Her first flight was actually to campaign to basically get women's sports on the Olympic programme.
So accomplished, and really at a time when women were not seen as having, or they weren't given a right to basically have a voice for a large portion of that. And I feel like with Lady Mary Heath, like everything that she did seem to kind of almost have different identities though as well. Like
it was like, and I like that thing of finding your way back to the thing, and like when exploring her character and where she, like her father bludgeoned her mother to death when she was a baby, and she was there, witness to it. So it kind of feels like when I kind of explored her character, I was like, it's almost like she's constantly trying to find peace and happiness, or but definitely a sense of peace. So there's always kind of the chasing of these things, and she was a bit of a thrill seeker almost as well. But she was an incredible woman, and doing all these things that like are completely like a lot of people aren't even doing now.
I know, absolutely. Like I wonder about when you're working on something that closely, and when it's something that, like, I know it was 2016, wasn't it, when you were first kind of approached about maybe doing something to do with these women in history. And can you tell us about the origins of it?
Yeah, so there's a girl called Mel Lynch, and she started up this kind of whole thing called Her.ie, and it's about reclaiming the lost stories of Irish women. All these like incredible Irish women, and she was trying to kind of get it. There's been loads of different bits and bobs like throughout the years with it, but she was trying to get a lot of artists to maybe make something about them, or draw, or whatever. And she was coming to me with like Lady Mary Heath, and I was just like, I was like, well, I just don't want to write another show, because I'd written 6 one-woman shows, and I was kind of going, at this point, I don't know if I can really, justify this. But then I started looking into Lady Mary Heath, and I was like, oh my God, she's so incredible. And then you go further and further, and she's so incredible. And I had this real affinity with her, because it was this idea of like, you can do all of these things and you can still kind of not be seen a bit. And it really resonated with me as an actress and as an artist. Like I had, at this point in my career, I had good screen credits. I had done 6 one-woman shows that I'd written and produced myself and taken around the world. And yet I could barely get a theatre to let me in the door in this country. So it was just
so weird, isn't it?
And it's so weird. And I don't know what the thing is, I don't know what it is, but it was just how it was. And so I really felt that like connection so strongly with her. As well.
Do you ever get like, because you've been doing this, and because this is the second run, and like you said, do you ever get kind of like exhausted with the material? As in, like, are you, once this is finished and stuff, and once you feel like you've done all you can with this material, like, do you look as an actress to the next kind of project? Or, because I know, like myself with the show and everything that I do, and like you can probably relate as well, you do get in what you're doing, and sometimes it's like difficult to kind of
step away from
and just see what's coming next. Like, so are you, like, when this run is finished, are you going to be like comfortable and happy with what you've done for this character and then move on?
Yeah, I think so. It's basically like how I'm approaching it now is like I've done all I can for Lady Mary and you know and the piece, and that like if anyone wanted to take it on, great, fine, but like that it feels like we're bringing it back to Limerick at the end of the month. And she's from Limerick.
Amazing.
So it feels like a nice full circle moment. And I just was saying, like, the other day I was going, like, even just the TV shows and the press that we've gotten for it, but for Lady Mary Heath, I was like, no, I've done my job there now, and like I'm kind of happy to let that sleep for a while and then just like keep moving on, because it's busy as well. Like I'm busy, so it's good to kind of just be like, no, I'm like, whereas last year it felt unfinished. It felt like we'd only just scratched the surface, because we just had a 2-week run in theatre upstairs in Dublin, and it was just kind of. And it was around the time of the referendum, so like the atmosphere in the country was huge. So I kind of wanted to bring her back away from that atmosphere, because it kind of gets caught up in that atmosphere, because it's about empowerment, women, bodily autonomy, things like that.
And it was a really interesting time in terms of like you said there was an atmosphere in the country around that time. So really I remember thinking that it played into it as well, but you do want it to be standalone too.
Exactly, because people were kind of coming, you know, it took people a while. Like people were coming back to us a few weeks afterwards going, that was really powerful, that was amazing. But it was like almost like everyone was so shell shocked at the beginning. It was like a lot, you know, and people were kind of going, oh God, there, you know, Lady Mary Heath was very angry, wasn't she? And I'm like, no, she wasn't angry. It was just powerful. Like that's just a powerful woman on stage. It's like she's you know. So it was nice to just come back away, like and let it just speak for itself.
There is 100% a movie in her story. How a movie hasn't been made about her, or has a movie been made?
No, I don't think so. I know. I think I will, because someone was saying that to me the other day, and they were like, no, movie has to be made.
Reese Witherspoon. No, Amy De Bhrún. Amy De Bhrún. Starring in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm such a selfish writer as well. It's always about like parts for myself. I'm terrible.
Girlfriends. Do what you got to do.
Exactly. I'm like,
no
one else got to give it to me.
Yeah.
So like you said, it is going back to Limerick to kind of. I think that feels very full circle as well.
Yeah,
like
it does.
It's a nice way to maybe finish the run as well.
Exactly.
But we'll give a little bit more information about where you can get tickets and stuff like that. But Nadine, I want to talk a little bit about you and your current career. So you're on Expose, which is, I mean, I would say pretty iconic in terms of TV in Ireland here. Like it's been around for a decade, if not longer. Has it been 10 years?
I think, oh God, well I know TV3's been around for 20. Some of the presenters have worked on the show for 12, I think it's been more like 12, nearly 13 years actually.
Wow. Oh, I know, Glenn
didn't it start with like, was Lorraine Keane?
Yeah,
one of the originals. A long time ago. Oh my God.
So it's always kind of been there, and it's gone through like different kind of presenters, obviously, like people move on to different things. So how did that come about? Because like there used to be a reality show and stuff about become the new Expose presenter. Like
I wish they'd do that again.
It's a big gig, but I just found it very like fascinating, because I was like, oh my God, are they actually doing this? But I think I remember, I think it was Sean Monsanji might have been on that one, or maybe I don't know how he got into it that way, but like there's been different, like everybody knows what the show is. So tell us exactly like how it came about that you first off met like the people involved with the show, and then how you kind of got your job.
You know what? I don't fully know. It's one of these things that
I love that.
I'll be honest with you. Like a few years ago, I decided to do this whole. No, but actually, it's not a few years ago. 2012, I began my like self-development journey. You know, and I feel a bit like an artist. I feel like I'm like here with Amy. You know, I feel like a real artist, because for the first time in my life, I actually stopped and said, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? What do I want my legacy to be? You know, all those big life questions. And as soon as I did that, obviously you go through peaks and you're like, oh Jesus, what am I? Oh, is that who I am? Oh God, you go through all these motions. And then it led me to a place in 2016 when I was like, well, 2015 when I was like, Jesus, Nads, it's time to explore. It's time to just be a bit more adventurous, because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I genuinely didn't know. And I thought, well, the only way to know is to do things and then be like, okay, yeah, don't like that, do like that, don't like that, do like that. And that's when I moved here. So obviously as a makeup artist, I already had 15 years of experience working with celebrities, but doing their makeup, working with models, working with actresses, working in TV, working in the theatre. London Fashion Week, I've done like 20 seasons of it, you know. I lived in Paris for a year, Paris Fashion Week, all of that. I've like experienced and seen so much from behind the scenes perspective. And then when I moved here as a makeup artist, I kept meeting presenters, actresses, videographers, editors. So what would happen is, because I'd be so bloody bold and loud and just literally having fun, to me every day was, you know, my mindset moved to a place where it was like, enjoy every day. You could be dead tomorrow. Do you know? So when I went to, say, a shoot or something, I would be like, good morning, you know, and I'd be like, oh, oh, oh. And literally just coming from a really positive place. And a very, like, courageous space as well, because I would focus on my courage as well. So what I found is, I think people sort of picked up on that. So they'd be like, oh, Nadine, yeah, you seem quite confident. Do you fancy being in a, you know, in a fashion shoot? By the way, you're going to wear your bikini. And I'm like, okay. So literally.
Did that happen?
That happened.
What?
I was on the cover of Life magazine.
Yeah.
With 4 other beautiful women of all different body shapes and sizes in a bikini. I haven't worn a bikini since I was like 10.
Oh my God, amazing.
Do you know what I mean?
I love it. That's
so it's
amazing.
like rolls. I'm like, yeah. I'm like working my like chocolate muffin rolls. I was so into it. I was like, grand, fine. So it started from that.
Wow, okay.
So I met the editor of Stella, Vicky, Sophie White from Life. So they all got me to do all these different shoots. And then before you know it, say Vicky from Stella, she's like, oh, we're celebrating 10 years of the magazine. Do you want to come to the, you know, all the events? You know, they had like a lovely celebratory gig. And when I was there, obviously she's invited all of her media cool people.
This is Vicky Notaro, right?
Yes, sorry, Vicky Notaro. And then she was like, oh, my friend is here. He really wants you to be on his show. I'm like, oh, what? At first I thought it was some straight hot guy. I'm like, oh, who is it? Checking the hair. And then she's like, oh no, sorry, he's not straight. I'm like, oh. And then, anyway, so I started talking to him. He's like, I'm going to do blind date and I want you to be a contestant.
Oh my God, amazing. And
I'm like, blind date, stop. Cilla Black's not even around. Never, never. A few months later, I'm on the show.
Oh my God. I want to know all about that.
I went out with a guy from Galway. It didn't go well.
Okay. Did you go out, like, as in, it wasn't just on the show, like you went out separately then afterwards?
Yes, the guy picked me to go on a date with him.
Amazing.
Yeah, but
was
anyway,
it not? It wasn't a good date.
No, God, no, it was terrible. But it was a great experience.
Yeah.
And then I got really good feedback, like, oh, Nadine, you look really good on screen.
Yeah.
And obviously, as a makeup artist, I've learned all the tricks of the trade. Yeah. I know how to make my skin glow, be radiant. You know, I know what colours work. I know the type of clothes that will stand out. You know, I've learned all this in my 15 years of makeup artistry life, do you know? And even presenting. So when I was a makeup artist, I moved from being a makeup artist working on the shop floor to a trainer. Right. So I would be presenting, going, hey guys, welcome to spring, summer. The latest collection is this. This is going to be really good for this. You know, so that kind of education actually helps me presenting. It's like teaching, you know? So anyway, so I went on the show, and then a few months after it aired and then was taken off the air, then I had a call from a wonderful lady, another Victoria. Oh, Vicky's an important part of my life. Victoria from, at the time it was TV3, and she's like, oh, hi Nadine. She actually WhatsApped me. I was like, that's weird. She's like, oh, I would like you to come into TV3. And I was like, okay. I'm there thinking, oh, they need a new makeup artist. Maybe there's some new black girl in town and they need her makeup done or something. And then she was like, oh no, you want to come for a screen test? I was like, okay. And then she said to me that Bill, head of programming, had seen me at the Expose Awards. And I don't know if he went, oh yeah, that's the girl that was on Blind Date. I don't know. And he's like, oh, get her in.
Wow.
And that was literally it. I went in, I had no clue what was going on. We sat down and had a chat like this. They were like, then you do a screen test. And I'm like, la, la, la. It was something about the royal family.
Yeah.
And I was like, ha, ha, ha. Didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I honestly talking baloney. But again, I was always coming from courage. I was always coming from, this could be your last day. Do you know what I mean? Enjoy this moment. Because one of my biggest things is no regrets. No regrets. If I have regrets, I feel this like,
it just jars. It's not good.
It doesn't sit well with you.
It doesn't sit well. I go to bed, I'm like, oh my God, I regret. So my thing was no regrets. I was like, Nads, they've asked you for a screen test, go on.
Absolutely. Like, what do you have to lose? It sounds like the journey that you've been on in terms of like kind of where you are now, and like you said, it's ever evolving, is 100% about taking the opportunities that come. And I'd say it's kind of similar for you too, Amy, in that like, isn't networking like I feel like networking and acting is, I know it's a terrible thing.
It just gives me shivers. It's
awful. The moment I said it, I knew I wasn't going to get there. I was like, no.
I'm really good at networking.
Like, I hate doing it too. It's like schmoozing, right? Sometimes you have to go to these events and you have to schmooze and stuff like this. But like, it's crucial because like you said earlier, like at times, you know, when you said you couldn't get in the door of a theatre, like when it comes to funding and when it comes to things like this, like you need to have those connections. And you need to be able to maybe see the opportunities that can benefit you down the line. Does that sound awful? Or?
No, but I think what I started to realise in the last few years, and it's something that even Oprah was saying, I was thinking about what you were saying. Of course she was.
Oprah talks us all the time.
Exactly.
Do you have nice conversations with Oprah?
She's great. She's fabulous. I just gave her a call there. But no.
She just WhatsApped me.
Yeah, we're real casual like that. But she was saying, like, you know, your life's purpose along with your personality, so that you've to suit your. So like what you're saying about like you like no regrets, like you want to just take the opportunity, and that's like your personality. So it then kind of comes together. And I feel like with networking for me, I'm not like at heart I'm kind of shy. Like I am a bit of a shy soul, and. But what I know I'm really good at is creating personal connections with people. Where if I really like something someone's done, I will go out of my way to be like, I love this, you know. So I feel like I'm that in the last few years in terms of networking, that's been my way to kind of approach things. Or like if I see what someone's doing and I'm like, I really like that. What's your advice? And it was like even in terms of getting funding, like we got some funding from Fingal Council for doing the show in Draocht, which is where my local council is. And the only reason I found out about that was because I'd gone to, from Fundit, I'd gone to Business to Arts, with this place, and they were who run Fundit. And they basically said, you know, you'll be seen as somebody who can just fund themselves, and they when you won't get funding, so start introducing yourself to local arts officers. So I was like, okay. So I then contacted Fingal and then got funding from them, and so then slowly you're like, okay. So it wasn't the case that I had to go to these big parties or anything like that, which are fun and I do love them, but like, you know, well, like invites. A party. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, but it is that kind of thing of going. I think for me, it's like creating the personal connection, because that just suits my personality more. And absolutely. I think, and when people hear networking, they freak out and they're like, oh yeah. And also a lot of people network with nothing to back it up. So you go to these parties and
mortifying.
It's so mortifying. Like, so whereas I always feel like it's just more like it's more truthful to, and it's great to go and have something behind you.
I always feel like that as well. Whenever I'm in a room with a bunch of people that I know is like, you know, important, or whether it's media related, and I'm talking to somebody that I really want to maybe get on the show or something like that, I will always just say to them, well, so I'm just going to get you on the show, because I feel like I can connect with them more in a situation like this, rather than like with a glass of like usually flat Prosecco, like let's be honest, and like some canapes that nobody really likes, you know, like it's just, it's such an uncomfortable realm, but at the same time, it's also kind of crucial, because like when you think about it, Nadine, like if you hadn't have been at the right place at the right time, but obviously it was your personality and what you were putting out there as well, but it's a small industry as well in Ireland, and it's very easy, because I would imagine so many people would want to know how to be on TV. Do you know what I mean? Like young girls as well, I'd say, would really want to know. And actually what you did was you did something else for like 15 however many years, and then you found a new career. But I'd say it was a scary thing though, to kind of do it for the very first time? Like, how did you feel on that day when like your first report was going to be aired on TV?
I was mortified. I was nervous. The first thing they asked me to do was to go and interview the producers of The Incredibles 2.
Okay.
So I did my research. I was like, dude. Because at first, if it's an actor or an actress, you're like, oh, I know her, he was in here, she was in that.
Yeah, of course.
But this time it was the producer, so I had no clue who they were to look at. But then I looked them up and I was like, oh my God, you wrote that, you did that, you produced that. And I was like, I grew up watching these shows. It was like they produced things like Batteries Not Included,
oh my God,
Toy
Batteries
Story.
Not Included.
Yeah.
I love that
exactly.
movie.
Exactly.
It's from like the
amazing,
late 80s.
Like, late 80s
it's
film.
the one about the
Oh my gosh,
robots and they come to life. They look like little hamburgers. Oh my God, it makes
the old people in the building.
I can't believe I haven't watched
It's just this one big building and there's all these like interrelationships and there's this old couple that will just make you cry constantly. Oh
it's like the Cocoon era, like Cocoon and all those kinds
terribly
of films.
shot. Like, I mean, it looks gas now, but like at the time, I was like, oh my God, look at that spaceship. And then I really wanted like a robot spaceship to come and be my best friend, which didn't happen. But sorry, I really got I got so excited when you said Batteries Not Included.
Exactly. So imagine feeling like that and interviewing the person who created that film, produced it.
Unbelievable.
Do you see? So I'm just like, I'm really happy to be here. Hello. And I'd never done a junket before. So you get like 5 minutes to like speak to.
And that's it,
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, okay. So as soon as you're up there and then you're there and then it's over.
And the adrenaline rush as well.
Yeah, and then you're like, what do I wear? And you get in your head and all of that. So I was really nervous. My friend Lisa came to support me, Lisa Doyle, God bless her. She literally waited in the hotel for me. I was like, Lisa, I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
And then she waited with me, thank God. But yeah, petrified. And then I couldn't watch it back.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you do. You see, you're so tough now with all these rejections.
Yeah.
You can probably handle that.
I can, but it is very annoying when you do watch it. Like, no, I will. Yeah. Sometimes I can separate myself, but if I'm like, oh no.
I always feel like, you know the way you have to do self-tapes now? That's kind of, isn't self-tapes like the thing that actresses do now? Like I'm sounding as if I'm like 100 years old, but like back in the day, you'd go to an audition, but now like you're taping yourself constantly. I don't like listening to myself or watching myself, so I don't know how, like...
It's very hard. Yeah, it's very annoying because you can't get in a room with a casting director in the same way. But like, because I'm a little bit older, I'll have connections with them, so sometimes I will get in the room more, so it's fine. But so there's some people coming out of drama school that all they do is self-tapes and never get to meet the casting director.
Wow.
But it is when you're watching back, like I always have to. It's like every time I take a conscious step. I always say like step across the threshold, as in like I step out of the character and kind of view it from a different space, because it's the only way I can look at it critically, because otherwise you're just looking at it going, oh, my teeth, oh, my face, oh, my eye, you know.
Yeah, I do that.
So you're trying to watch it without it actually being you, if that kind of makes sense?
Yeah.
And so, but you didn't watch yours back?
I did watch it eventually, and I was like,
yeah.
But then I did that whole thing. I was like, Nadine, you're courageous, you're a strong woman, you can handle this. And I was like, no, look, you've got some stuff out there, you know. You looked good, this looked great, maybe next time don't do that. And I just looked at it constructively afterwards.
That's it. And it's funny how you adapt, because I remember, like, this is episode 79 of this show, but I remember the first few episodes, I used to go back and literally go through the edit with like a fine tooth comb, and I would edit out every time I said the word like. Swear to God, it was so tedious.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many times are you editing? Like 100?
So many times. But it was just one of those, like, nobody else would have noticed, you know? It's not something that is consistent, and I've also trained myself since then. But it's funny how you kind of just pick up on little things that maybe other people wouldn't pick up on, and it was just my bugbear. So I would literally go through the entire hour of audio and take out everything, and nobody would have noticed either way. It was a little bit crazy.
Debbie O'Donnell, I have to say, she gave me the best advice. She goes, Nadine, do the job, get it done. And she goes, afterwards, forget about it.
Yeah.
Literally. Just move
She's
on.
like, you get it there, you do your best, you da-da-da, and then done. Next.
Yeah.
And that actually has helped me.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're just like, it's done now. Instead of going, oh, they're always going to remember that time I said that.
There's absolutely nothing you can do. Like, there's nothing you can do.
Over.
Yeah, it's over. Like, get over yourself. Like,
get over yourself. Yeah.
I feel like it's a really good piece of advice actually as well. Yeah.
Best TV advice I've ever
Yeah, I think in terms of like a lot of the work that we do, like, you know, we're recording it and this kind of stuff, and then it's done. And if there is ever like a big, like if you fall or something, you can go back and kind of like chop into it a little bit. Yeah. But you're in ICU at the moment and it's live theatre. Yeah. So I mean, I'll never forget. Right, I'll tell you a little tidbit. I was in college and I was in the vagina monologues. And
you was in it?
Yeah, I was in. I used to do like little bits of acting like a long time ago with
Amy's with my husband.
With Amy's husband. Yeah.
And he was actually saying today, he was like, fair play to her. She just walked in there. She wasn't, because you weren't in the school or something.
I wasn't in the school. I wasn't actually meant to. It was usually like, it was a school where they would have the Belleville boys and then it would usually be Loretto girls who would come. I was from like San Sabina and Sutton. Like they were like, what is this Sutton girl doing here auditioning? But I was like, I'm here to sing. Yeah, but anyway, Sean, and he was so great at it as well. But when I did the vagina monologues, right, imagine a room like this. It was very dark, it was in the space in the helix, so like a lovely, like kind of, we all wore black, and like the vagina monologues obviously very powerful. And you're speaking about your vagina. I blanked.
Oh, stop.
Like as in the words would not come. So I think I got 2 sentences into my monologue and it was silence. And it wasn't like, is she acting silence?
Yeah.
It was people were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
My friend had to shout me my words.
Good
silence.
Good friend.
Yeah.
Good friend.
And I don't know whether it was stage fright or whether it was just like my brain had a complete meltdown, but I don't think I ever stepped. I don't think I stepped on stage again for like a really, really long time. But obviously,
actually, did you step back on stage?
I did.
You need to.
I did eventually, but like obviously, like I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen. But I mean, in terms of theatre and the way that you perform when you're out there, does that ever? I think like when you're an actor as a profession, that probably doesn't come into your mind as much as like for me, because obviously I was in college. It was just kind of a bit of crack or whatever. But like you never worry about those kind of elements.
No, like in one way I make sure that basically how I approach the work is that like if we lost all the props, all the lights, all the costumes, that I could still do the show just standing there.
Yeah.
Like so that's how prepared I like to be, and then everything else will come. But you know, in terms of that you are like sometimes you're just on stage and you might it's like really simple things. Someone might be kind of like especially if you're talking to the audience, they might be looking at you the funny way, and then your brain clicks and you're like, hang on a sec, where you know
just
like
the attention.
It's like constantly little things, or like there might be like on our first night in Drake just recently, Roxana was finishing her bit, and it leads my bit on, and I know exactly what the atmosphere is. I know exactly what I'm kind of going to, like what the general bit of the piece that I'm about to say next. But I just couldn't remember that first line. That first line. So I'm just like. And then I just go into the second line, and I'm like, oh well, like not really, you know, I have to just kind of go.
Say they didn't,
but and no one notices.
They never notice.
But your stomach, like it's like your stomach just falls out of you. You're gone, like it's like.
And obviously, it would be very different to like the other mediums that you do as well, because you've done film and you've also done TV, and you're doing like really exciting work in the UK at the moment in TV, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to be on Line of Duty this
Sunday.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Yeah,
it's like the best rated show at the moment.
I know, it's like 8 million or 7.8 million. Sorry, 7.8 million.
So I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's very good. So catch up on the first season.
I will. But tell us about it.
Binge on Netflix on it. It is actually.
It's a good binge actually.
Yeah. So it really is, because when I got the part, I then was reading the scripts and I was like, these are actually really good. And I was like, maybe I'll watch it. And then just binged the whole 4 seasons.
Okay.
But it's a bit like, though, isn't it?
Yeah, like
you're like, did that happen? Come on.
Yeah.
Really, someone just do the right thing.
Yes,
do the right thing.
And they're constantly and the reason I figured out that I'm not allowed to even I can't even say my character name, even though if you look it up you can find it.
Okay.
But I'm not allowed.
I love this.
Yeah, exactly. Just look up IMDb.
You signed like an NDA.
An NDA. And I've realised now the reason I can't, because I was going, why can't I just say my name, because I'm not doing my accent, I'm doing a different accent. And if people have seen the thing, they'll know why. But actually, this might come out after I've been on, will it?
This is coming out on Sunday. So
it's on Sunday. So no, but I won't. But basically, if you look it up, you can see all those things. But it's just the reason I can't say it is what I realised when I watched the first episode is they're constantly trying to kind of be like, oh, is it this person? Is it this person that's corrupt? Is it this person? Is it this person? So I realised that if people know who my character is before they watch the episode, they'll be like, oh, well, then it must, so that's basically why I can't say it.
Oh, I'm interested.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
I feel like if you have to sign an NDA agreement, you've made it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's one of those things. It sounds, nobody has ever asked me to keep my mouth shut, thankfully, because of my job. But
and it's really hard because you do want to be like, it's not like out of the 6 episodes I'm in 3, so I'm in every second one, like 2, 4, 6.
That's amazing.
The scenes are emotional. They're really good as an actor for me and for the people that I was working with. But like, you want to tell people like what it is, and you don't want to make too much out of it, but you don't want to make too little out of it. But you can't do any of that because you're basically going like, I don't know, I can't say anything. I'm not.
Afterwards, you can talk about it.
Yeah.
Your man from Blood, the big famous Irish actor. What's his name? He was in Blood and he's in Line of Duty. The main guy.
Oh, Adrian Dunbar.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's amazing. And he's really nice. They're all really nice as well. Like, that's the thing.
Do you prefer TV or theatre?
Oh, God. Never asked me that question. Deep. I actually love them both in very different ways. I've realised though that like I think that on screen I love them both, but I think for me, don't
like deciding between children.
Yeah, it's weird. It's completely different dynamics for both. So it's like 2 aspects of your job that you just like really enjoy. But for me, I think screen has always been a more kind of welcoming environment for me, like as in like it always feels like the possibilities are a bit endless with screen work. Like you can get in the door, and if someone likes your tape, they just like your tape and that's it. And I always feel like in theatre world, in smaller countries like ours, and sometimes it can just be harder to kind of get in or or figure that out, because often people use the same people again and again, and there's all those kind of things that go on. But that's only my experience. Someone else will probably be like, I find that with screen, like so.
I do always like when I hear about actors who are like in the biggest movies in the world, and then they'll go and they'll do a run of something in the theatre. It makes it seem like, because sometimes you forget when they're so famous that they are actors, like if that makes sense. Sometimes you forget that they're trained actors, and like it's their love of storytelling and kind of embracing a character. So when I hear them off doing a run, whether it's on the West End or like off Broadway or something like that, it just feels nice, because it's like they don't have to do that.
No, exactly.
For
and it shows
money
the love
or
of
anything.
craft as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, obviously they're probably like performing to like crazy sold out. They probably got a nice amount of money as well. But I always do like that, because it's maybe they started in theatre, or maybe that was like the one love. But I want to talk quickly, because we're gonna move on now and just find out about what's coming next, although we've spoken about so much. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, you're both in visual mediums, right? So people are looking at you all the time. And there was this really interesting thing that came up there during the week, and we covered it. It was a piece that was written for Glamour, and I think it was the US. So this woman who owns a gym, and she's a personal trainer, her name is Alyssa Royce. I may be pronouncing her name wrong, apologies if I am. But basically she's calling bullshit on body positivity. She's saying that, it's bullshit, basically. And I found it really interesting, and I wanted to kind of get your takes on it, because you were saying about being on the cover of Life in your bikini. But some of the things that she's saying about body positivity is really interesting, because she's basically saying that you now are being pressured into posting pictures of your bodies and loving that because you've posted a picture of it. So, I mean, do you think it's gone too far now? And then as well as that, in both of your professions, have you ever felt like you needed to kind of look a certain way? Because like we were saying, we're critiquing ourselves constantly. But I mean, what do you think, Nadine? Have you ever felt pressure to look a certain way?
You know what's weird is that I think those pressures exist consistently, whether it's from growing up in families, in schools, watching TV, music, theatre, film. I think those pressures are always there. Now, to me, I think it's how you react to life, full stop. Do you know what I mean? Me, luckily, I've got into TV later on in life. So I'm already pretty solid in who I am as a person, worked on my self-esteem, I'm strong in my mind. So if someone came to me going, oh, you're a bit fat, and you'd be like, oh, thanks. I'd be like, thanks, Bab. Thanks for that. Your eyes are working beautifully. I'm delighted for you. How's your weight? How much are you weighing these days? Do you know what I mean? Have you had any eating disorders in your life? Anything good? Do you know, I don't take on board those pressures at all, because I already know that if someone wants to come for me and judge something about me physically, that's because of them, babe. That's because of their issues, or how they feel about themselves, or what lessons life has dealt them. That's not about me. So even the term body positivity, when I did that article, I was in bits, because on the front of it said Ireland's body activist. I was like, am I a body activist?
But like, do you not find...
I don't know if I am.
Do you not find that kind of like frustrating though, because they've put you into that category because maybe of the way you look? Like it's almost like counterintuitive, you know?
I don't know. I think the whole like body positive movement is still different in so many different ways. So just to have that blanket body positivity, I don't post pictures of myself naked or the rolls, like, do you know what I mean? Like, to me, that's just not necessary for me. But I follow people that do, and I'm like, fair play, girl, because I realise that some people need to see a variety. My thing is about variety. I don't think there should be one body shape that we're like, this is the best body shape. I think some of us are born short, some of us are born wider, some of us are naturally slender, some of us, you know, carry a bit of weight, a bit heavier. Some of us have had horrific things happen in our lives that have made us put on weight, and maybe it's been a struggle to lose it, and maybe we've gone, you know what, maybe I'll focus on my family or my career, and I'm not going to spend flipping 20 hours a day thinking about what I'm going to eat or whatever. Do you know? So we're all in just different places. So my thing is with body positivity, I think it's about really mental positivity. It's about feeling good in whatever you've got on, at the person you are right now today. Because in 6 months you could be different, because maybe you got sick and you lost a load of weight, or maybe, you know, someone passed away in your family and you comfortate for a year. Do you know, it's just so different for us all.
I think so. It's a really good point. Different. It's a really good point as well to focus on like the mentality side of it, because I mean, working in visual mediums though, you know, it's hard, because we have been trained, and especially then when people are like shooting you all day, like they are looking at you, so like it's hard as well to kind of get your head around that. But I think trying to maintain that mentality of how you feel more so than how you look, like you kind of have to do that as a woman, I think, if you're working in the entertainment industry. Like I mean, Amy, as an actress, presumably you have specs on what you need to look like for certain roles, and that's to do with the character, so I understand that it's very different. But I mean, a huge amount of pressure, I would imagine.
So it's harder for actors than presenters.
I mean, there can be. I think it's like what you do with it. I think it's like that whole thing of being comfortable in your own skin and going like, and seeing what your body can do for you, as opposed to like it being this kind of thing separate from you. It's like the reason I do yoga is because I think it's really good for actors. I think it's good for your mental health. I think it's good for strength. I think it's good for even radiating on stage, like kind of like creating an aura or whatever on stage, whatever way you want to put it. But I think it's like, you know, and I like, so that's why I like to maybe do yoga and stuff like that. But it's I don't know. It's like, it's in terms of what you look like. I know some people do feel a huge amount of pressure, but I always kind of feel like that thing. It's. But you decide. Like I'm in control of this. Like I decide whether you know what to do. And but I was saying, but I'm actually 6 months pregnant at the moment.
Hold on a minute.
I'm very neat.
Hold on.
An exclusive.
Exclusive what, Amy?
But so in terms of
Sorry.
It's very neat. It's like,
It's in there though. It's just hidden away.
Oh my God, God bless you. Wow.
So, but in terms of that
Amazing.
and like
amazing.
your body change, like you're saying, like your body changing and, you know, accepting your body, it is really, that's what's really hard because my body has just been kind of pretty similar like the last however many years. But it's like, it's changing. And then with work, because you have to look a certain way, you're kind of, I'm going, God, am I going to lose out in roles now because of this? So, but it's constantly just
Probably not,
reminding.
because we didn't even know. I'd say you'd be grinding so bad.
So I've been getting away with absolute blue murder like the last few months. Because I've been working away, been ticking along. So
Congratulations.
Yeah, massive congratulations.
But it is, it's like that whole thing of your, like, so then, and actually somebody was going to me, your body is actually, like, is building another human inside of it. And yes, there was another person who helped do that in the beginning.
Well done,
But
John.
well done, John.
Good man,
But
John.
in terms of actually growing it,
You're doing the work.
like, and that's kind of amazing. And, you know, so.
It is, like what you're saying there, it's about, what I took from that piece as well, and what I take kind of from what you guys are saying as well, sometimes it's about changing and thinking about what your body is doing for you as opposed to like what you look like. And to be honest, I fall into the trap all the time. Like I would post a picture or something like that and maybe feel a little bit good, but when I really kind of think about it, I don't know if I'm actually like feeling the best about my body on a day-to-day basis. So probably something to just look at, and just because it can be hard.
It gets easier. That's what I think. I've become better at it. In my 20s, shocking. Now, it wasn't terrible. You see, I've grown up in a black family. Do you see what I mean? So the boobs and the asses, it's there. It's part of culture. Do you know? There would never be, you'd almost be like, as a Jamaican woman, if you're very skinny, you're almost slated for being thin.
See, it's very conflicting here because now it's boobs and ass, right? And that has come from like America and kind of the Kardashians as well. But growing up in Ireland, it was Kate Moss 90s wave, heroin chic. Like, so we were...
The lollipop. I remember when I was a teenager, the lollipop.
It was
women
the Rachel Zobots, do you remember? Like, and it was just skinny, 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 absolutely nothing.
The big, huge cup of coffee that were like too big for their body.
Yeah,
you know?
and like sunglasses and blankets because they were always cold because they had no weight on them. Do you know, like that was what it was.
That Jamila Jamil thing where she was saying about, she was saying it's about wanting to, like, what do you weigh? It's about wanting women not to take up any space in the world.
Yeah. So I'm not into
and
that.
It's, and I feel like that's what that kind of time was with the lollipop girl and stuff like that. And I think,
like we're weight will literally blow over.
Yeah.
We're not going to impose. It was a terrible time.
I just think that's so mad.
I do think thankfully it's past now, but like now the beauty standard seems to be like this tiny waist and then a big ass and big boobs
and a lot of work,
and it changes and a lot of work. But it sounds like when you were growing up though, it was more just about the way that you felt and how comfortable you were.
I'm very, very lucky. I feel like I've been raised by those Oprah type of women. I come from the strong women type of family, you know, and even the men in my family, if you look at the wives that they have, they're all different types of body shapes. There's no, you know, just that one thing is beautiful. So one thing my mum taught me very young, like when I was a kid, right, when it comes to beauty and everything, you're a bit like, oh, am I good looking? Am I not? You know, you don't really know. You don't really understand that. I remember I was going out with a guy, I went out for about 7 years and I was young, and I was going on a date with him, and my Auntie Bev, good old Auntie Bev, I was all dressed up, you know, and she looked at me and she went to my mum, she went, Anne, doesn't Nadine look beautiful? And I was 19, and from that day, I was like, I am beautiful. And I swear to God, someone can go, oh, you're an ugly bitch. I'm like, hello, my Auntie Bev told me I'm beautiful. So you're completely wrong. And I will never forget that.
It's just one sentence, but look at what it can mean to a person.
Yeah, and you know, maybe she said it because I seemed a bit down. I hope she said it because she really thought that. I won't ask her. I'm going to stick with my version of the story. But to this day, that stays with me. So whatever happens, I know that I'm beautiful. But my mom, on the flip side, my mom would be more like my dad because my mom raised me. My dad died when I was quite young. So my mom was like, right, Nadine, looks were feared, you know. Looks were feared, you know. So I've got one side of my auntie going, you're beautiful, that's amazing, and my mom telling me, don't be relying on looks, because good, you know, she's like, you need to be on time, you need to pay your bills, you need to be a good person, you need to show up, you need to be consistent. So I've been raised like that. So all those things to do, honestly, whoever you think is the most beautiful person could walk into my family house and, you know, they'd be like, okay, do you would like a cup of tea? Do you want? It's none of this. Oh, isn't she so gorgeous? We don't do that.
And I think women in families have a real responsibility to their daughters and their nieces and stuff to really do that, because my mum's never been into weight or diets or anything like that, and I think it did kind of filter down, because it was never a thing of like, oh, we can't have that now. If you ask my mum to share a dessert with her, she's just like, no, get your own dessert. You know, like, no, like, it's not or it's not like, oh, this, and then that kind of thing of like, oh, we're eating this and this is really bad. It's like, no, it's not. It's food. Food is really good. It's good. Just like, obviously, maybe be careful that you're not going to kill yourself. Other than that, enjoy your life. Like.
Absolutely, yeah.
And do you know what I realised as well? Even though I'm a big girl, I just realised if people are listening, they'll be like, well, who's this Nadine? I'm a good size 22, you know, I'm a weighty girl up in here. But I realised that I'm quite an energetic person. Yeah. So if we wanted to have a dance battle, I'll take you down. Do you know what I mean? I will take you down. Would, like, last 5 minutes. I would. I ain't gonna lie, I would. But what I realise is there's an energy to it. So for me, even though I'm a big person, I'm an energetic person. So I move a lot. Now, I don't dance and do as much class as I'd like. I did do a burlesque class down here for a bit, which was brilliant. I was learning this like Beyonce routine. It's amazing. So I think whatever weight level you are, I think if you focus on your energy and move, does that make sense? So I feel like I'm a strong 22
well, it's about how you feel.
Does that make sense?
And there's a lightness to you as well, because people think that if you're a certain size or a certain,
you're going to be slow and sluggish.
And that's actually, the two don't go hand in hand.
I'm quite a bouncy around kind of person.
It's amazing.
But it's just breaking the norms, isn't it? It's breaking the norms of what people expect of certain sizes, and also as well, you know, anticipating and realising that it doesn't actually matter, but also you don't have to post a picture of your rolls in order to feel good about your body.
I wouldn't do that anyway.
Yeah, but I think people on social media and stuff, people are kind of falling into that. So I mean, you know, we'll link the piece that we were talking about, but a really interesting piece to maybe go and just reevaluate what it is that body positivity means. You don't have to feel amazing about your body every single day and post about it. Well, that's it.
Who feels amazing 100% of the time?
I know,
You have hormones. Like, that's what that's how you do that about yourself.
Exactly. So I could literally talk to you guys all day, but I'm gonna have to let you go. But before I do, we've covered everything. But Amy, tell us again for people who want to get more information about, and also Line of Duty. Everybody watch it. By the time this comes out, it's going to be going out, but you're going to be on a few episodes.
I'll be on episodes 2, 4, and 6.
Okay, amazing. So binge watch it to catch up, and then, but we can't say anything else.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be great. I promise.
And then I See You, and obviously, what else have you got coming up aside from motherhood?
I See You's coming to Limerick on the 26th of April, and they can find tickets at Bell Table's website or ladybudproductions.com.
Amazing.
I'm going to be in Krypton. That's coming out. The Outpost. It's an NBC thing. That's coming out. So a few bits and bobs.
Awesome.
I can never remember when people ask me off the cuff. I'm like, oh. And I'm going to be into writing, but once I get sort of too big to move,
well, that's
easily,
it. You'll go on maternity leave.
I have a writing. I have a thing that I'm going to be writing as well. So,
amazing! So exciting. So cool. Absolutely. And Nadine, what about yourself? What's coming up for you?
Oh, okay. So more expose. Literally having fun with the guys. More showbiz interviews, fashion stuff. But then for myself as well, I'm working on creating a few little video series myself on different things that I specifically like.
Lovely.
And things that I'm really interested, people who have inspired me in Ireland, topics that make me go, huh?
Nice.
Such as tanning, surgery, cosmetic surgery, like random things like that.
And is that for your kind of social media that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, it's just going to be like a series that I'll throw up there on YouTube as well. So I'm excited to do that. So that is in production. So that's really cool to do something led by myself.
Absolutely.
Which is really cool.
It's so important as well. I always think to do that.
It is important. And then on top of that, I'm starting to get booked to do more MC gigs. So I'm just going to have fun with them. It's like a chance to dress up, wear loads of hats and crowns and big dresses. So, the VIP Awards, I'm going to that, obviously. And then I'm going down to Cork.
Oh,
I can't wait.
I think you're really good at the accents.
Oh, I don't know, babe. Sorry, my Cork audience. So I'm going down to Cork at the end of May for the High Style Awards.
Oh, lovely. Oh, yes.
So I'm going to MC that. So I want to have loads of, like, to me, see, every gig it's like something fun.
Yeah.
So I want to be like Whoopi Goldberg in the Oscars. So I want to like change my outfit every time.
Yes.
Just have fun, have a theme, different wigs and hats, and you know, I just want to enjoy it.
Oh my God,
I want
absolutely.
to look back.
Yeah.
And one of my goals is to host the Oscars. So I'm like, well, why would I not lose these opportunities to practice?
And it's all prepping you for that.
It's prepping me.
Yeah.
And like surrounded by amazing, hilarious people. I can't wait.
That's one of your
So
goals,
things
to
like
host the Oscars, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
My
Some
theme this
gig,
year is to dream big.
Yeah.
Because you know when you talk about that being small thing, I think we naturally do that. And I've been raised really well from an encouraging family, but we still a dream smaller family.
Yeah.
Pay bills, pension, You know, society and life has changed so much. So I'm just like, well, why couldn't I do that?
Absolutely.
Like, give me a reason why not, guys.
Yeah, it's an amazing...
I can't think of one.
Yeah, you can do it.
Hopefully, imagine if I host the Oscars when you win your Oscar.
That's it.
Remember this moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Hashtag if Nads can.
Exactly. If
Hashtag
Nads
if
can,
Nads
you
can.
can. Yeah,
Well,
perfect. Thank you for having me.
Nadine Reid and Amy De Bhrún, thank you so much for coming in, as always, and we'll have to get you back very soon.
Oh, thank you.
Fab.
With our Oscars.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, guys.